more than rather than 250 planes how smashed above U.S. Earth include never been found, but a crew of voluntary detectives is on the instance. It began in 6 overheard speech. Robert Hyman, a climber and researcher, was host aside at his household in Washington, D.C. In spite of enormous searching, Fawcett's aircraft and flesh had not been found. For Robert, it didn't sit so. The war don't keep human beings over, he mind. No one do Boy Scouts. So, he told such 6 speech. Explorers don't keep some explorers over. While I heard it, it pressed in me, says Liu. I done a leftward turn, law in the team, and told, affirmative. Liu knew Robert, but not so. And lot of real are told at parties. So, the following date, they detained Amit. Robert driven into some human beings, his woman Deb Atwood, by the government specialist, and Bob Atwater, Steve Fawcett's ex-safety advisor. They solved to go behind for the lacking researcher. It was no nice receive on the at first aircraft to Nevada. The original searching for Fawcett coded 17,000 SQ miles, 44,030 SQ kilometer, so his at first job was to do the hay less. With information and interviews, Liu won interviewee more than rather than 40 human beings, they did how. By August 2008, 9 months following the side in D.C., they were prepared to put boots on the land. Liu, Robert, and more than rather than 25 some voluntary, consisting several of the unique searchers, met in Nevada. The crew turned on 3 planes, 7 flying, and several of the top climbers in the nation. In spite inquiring for 19 days, they found anything besides 3 rattlesnakes, 2 bears and a flock of savage bronco. 18 days after, a traveler and his dog found Fawcett's ID map, 62 miles off in California. They named a regional searching crew and, more than rather than a year following it smashed, the aircraft was found. But Fawcett's remnant were yet lacking. One of Liu and Robert's crew, who lived neighboring, began inquiring close the collapse website. He found an odd coach by an pet's lair. For Liu, the end was horrific, sorrowful, but pleasant. The crew had, in a slight path, helping shut the instance. It was so enchanting, and so satisfactory, to be capable to assist, says Liu. We told, perhaps we should do the once again. A pair of our members told, thou where are lot of cases out where love the. We replied, which? Very. Thou re kidding me. In September 2006, Draft Westover, 54, and Marcy Randolph, 43, set off in a lighting plane of Phoenix Reindeer Vale Airport in Arizona. They never came behind. While the formal 3-week searching found anything, Marcy's dad, Phil, took on the problem. He renovated his airman's license. He consumable several hours inquiring of the airborne, and more than several hours among the infinite red rock of Arizona. It was no utilize. In 2008, following listening on his job in the Fawcett instance, Phil contacted Liu and Robert's crew. The common cold instance was on to get heating pad. The lacking plane searching crew consumable more than rather than 1,000 outstanding several hours studying which happened to Draft and Marcy. They interview 40 human beings consisting friends, household and flying instructors. They poured above accountable. They analyzed more than rather than 1 millionth radar gun traffic. They were on to put boots on the land, to searching the region himself, while ancient-fashioned detective story job allowed the instance. In April 2009, a poll term was departure via flame accountable while he noted thing. On the day Draft and Marcy went lacking, 2 hikers informed a little flame in a remotely gorge. The flame hadn't been studied, so the paper wasn't in the major, automated database. But the hikers' names were on the folder. Poll contacted them. Warned by the interviewing, the hikers went behind and saw a dilapidated aircraft. The authorities were contacted 2 and a part year following it went lacking, Draft and Marcy's aircraft was found. Thou ask why we do the, says Robert, 8 years after, meeting in his cuisine in Washington, D.C. So if you see at the email we got of Mr. Randolph. He pauses, hammered at the ram. While you get a appreciate you of a parental how lose a kid, he's a large sense. Before currently, the quantity of lacking planes in the joint state has not been show. No one the U.S. air strength, its civilian air patrolling, accountable for internal antenna searching and save, nor the shore guardsman keeps a inclusive listing. The Domestic Transport Security Executive Board investigates accidents but doesn't map lacking planes. In reality, just one man knows on each lacking aircraft in America. He is a poll term. John Lopez Jr., a 63-year-old of Washington County, was a voluntary for the civilian air patrolling in California among 1969 and 1975, upstart a 20-year carrier in the troop. About 2003, he became interesting on the planes he looked for in California his youthful. Were they found? And if so, wherever? Where was a fractional social listing of accidents departure behind to 1964, so John began to fill in the blanks. He begun in the West State, California, Oregon, Washington, up departure national. With formal accountable and newspapers, I went to regional libraries, country to country, looking at the fiche, he began to listing each lacking aircraft. As of the 1 week, 658 planes include been lacking for more than rather than 60 days above the joint state. Of such, 255 went lacking above Earth. Several 403 went lacking above water supply, coasts, lake and the Bay of Mexico. The year in largest lacking planes was 1972, in 52. The year in least was 2013, in 1 aircraft, in Alaska, yet lacking. John's database accounting records the kind of plane, wherever it went lacking, the quantity of human beings on executive board, a executive summary of how it went lacking, and the attempts to discover it. His year of study indicate how, while poll C for a aircraft, they include a chief start. His hay is less, and they frequently include data not one else has. Poll is a mixture of scientists, mathematicians, and ancient-fashioned detectives. Several members job in aircraft. Other job in law coercion. Lou is a advisor to overseas governments. He consumable 3-year work for the main secretary's office space in the Silent Isle nationality of Vanuatu. Robert is a photograph and depositor, as so as a climber and researcher. We include a big clumsy boy, a boring guy in spectacles. He's precisely love the one team, says Robert. Formal searches normally end during 2 or 3 weeks of the aircraft departure downward. While not one else can assist, families, and though law coercion agencies, can rotate to poll. The crew normally include 6 or 7 cases continuing, but not all planned on each instance. It depends who puts his brush upwards, says Liu. Several of them begin as A-person jobs. Occasionally it will be 4 persons or 5 human beings. They job via Yahoo groups, and say to every some on the telephone, before they requirement and at the ground searching. One of the largest searches took location in 2009. In October 1944, a war aircraft set off of Mining Box, now Los Angeles World Airport, but never came behind. The airman, Gertrude Tompkins, was a female Air Force Facility Airman, WASP. She was 32-year ancient, had been marital for a monthly, and remnant the recent lacking WASP. Lou and the crew unsecured the formal U.S. troop air strength paper, 120 pages length, tracked downward and tell to surviving WASPs, and de-interviewed a eyewitness. The crew as well got an submarine map of Santa Monica Bay and found software program, sacrificed complementary of accusation, to analyze it. While they saw pixels of concern, they shipped various downward. The various found the remnant of a war aircraft lacking with the 1950s, and were capable to speak the flying families. They as well found components of a lighting plane lacking with the 1970s. They didn't discover Tompkins' Bronco, but they scheduled to try once again. The team's Roman slogan, Spesmos in Crebresco, translates as expect shall dominate. Pol has treated on more than rather than 20 cases, several of them external the U.S. They include found, or helping to discover, at low 7 planes. Every close instance is else household in answers. While you encounter the families, they're very desolate, says Liu. To assist them solve it, and go on a beat, is really satisfactory. He's a communication supported by Robert. For the faucet searching, I was requested by the print, which makes you believe you can resolve he. My answer was I understand he's a length shooting. I understand he's a really little likelihood of successful. Yet I can speak you for specific, where is null likelihood of successful if you don't attempt. He conducted his cap off and smooths his wool. We're not making the for transparency, he continues. We're not making the for popularity or luck, since how's obviously not the instance. We're making it to try to superior community, to do the law item, and to fix a issue. Further accountability by James Morgan.